Saltanat Tompiyeva. She is Chairwoman of the Civil Aviation Committee. Zhanat Abdugalimov, a Managing Director for Flight Safety Strategy, Standardization and Harmonization, representing the Aviation Administration of Kazakhstan, and Mr. Ibrahim Canliel, who is a Chief Financial Officer of Air Astana. So our discussion is designed today to unite the visions of our stakeholders and to forge our common understanding on key priorities and steps that we need to take in order to build the sustainable growth and global integration of aviation industry in Kazakhstan. So to start, let's hear from our panelists. We'll begin with the Civil Aviation Committee and followed by Aviation Administration of Kazakhstan, then Air Astana, and then a keynote from the AIFC, which is myself. And we have allocated about 6 to 7 minutes for each panelist. We would like to stick to the timing since we have very short 45 minutes, let's say, time frame. And I've seen some slides that we are going to see today, and they're very extensive and informative. So we'll have probably to miss the Q&A section in the end, but we try to and ask our panelists to provide as much insights and information in their slides as possible so that we have get a lot of value out of them. So firstly, I would like to extend my warmest congratulations and sincere gratitude to Saltanat Erkinovna for her outstanding efforts in hosting this past July the president of ICAO, Mr. Salvador Shakitano. So this achievement is not her personal success, but also a significant milestone for the entire country, since it's a very vital, let's say, step for us, since it enhances our international standpoint in civil aviation. So Saltanat Erkinovna, if from your approval, could you please provide us with a report on the work has been done so far and current regulatory initiatives aimed at supporting the industry in Kazakhstan?
Thank you. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I'm very glad to see here a lot of guests and my colleagues from Aviation Administration of Kazakhstan and from airlines, airports. Very nice to see you here, and I would like to welcome all the guests here in Kazakhstan. So briefly, I would like to shortly report it about the civil aviation development in Kazakhstan. In Kazakhstan, structure of civil aviation authority systems is a Ministry of Transport under the Ministry Civil Aviation Committee, and important roles are played by Aviation Administration of Kazakhstan. It's overseas flight safety and Kazara navigation. Ensures air navigation services as a providers, and Civil Aviation Academy. This body is under the Ministry of Science and Higher Education. And of course, key industry players, airlines and airports and other stakeholders. Transportation capacity and our indicators demonstrate a very positive growth for the last 2 years. In 2024, almost 30 million passengers were served by our airports, and we expect to reach 22.4 million. In addition, over 500,000 passengers are planned to be carried on associative important routes that provide to develop the routes where, for example, commercial flights not give some profit for airlines. And here we demonstrate our main indicators, key indicators. Passenger traffic increased by 11%, served passengers grew by 14%, cargo volumes increased by 18%, and transit traffic rose by 11%. Kazakhstan is positioning itself as an attractive transit hub between East and West, and we are committed to further strengthening this role. ICAO compliance. Kazakhstan has achieved 82% compliance with ICAO standard, higher than both the global and European average. I think Zhanat will inform about this more detailedly. As a result of systematic work, Kazakhstan was removed from monitoring under the Euro Commission. In July 2025, the president of the ICAO, Mr. Salvador Shakitana, paid an official visit and commended the development and transparency of our civil aviation system. The recognition confirms that Kazakhstan's aviation industry is one of the right track, I would say. Domestic market also, especially after pandemic, demonstrates, I think, very great growth and development very steadily. Currently, on 61 domestic routes, operate 849 flights per week. 6 carriers currently operate in the market. As you know, a new foreign investor has been attracted to strengthen the local carrier, Kazakh carrier. International market. Kazakhstan continues to implement its open sky policy, and now I would say all the international airports are open for the and working during in this open sky regime. In 2025, over the 26 new routes will be launched with new carriers entering the market, including low-cost carriers such as EasterJet from Korea and Thai Air Asia X from Thailand and others. And future long-haul destinations include in 2026 Singapore, Tokyo, Rome, Vienna, and 2027 New York. Our strategy focuses on expanding the network and strengthening connectivity with Central Asia, China, Middle East, Europe, and North America. Kazakhstan is open for the cooperation and welcomes new airline partnership. Significant work is also being carried out at airports. Since independence, nearly every airport in the country has been reconstructed. We continue to attract private, including foreign investment. In the past 5 years alone, investors have been engaged in 7 airports. A priority focus is the development of air hubs, which play a key role in logistic, cargo handling, and overall economic growth. They support local tourism. We are also building 3 brand new regional airports and restoring 1. In 2024, 3 new terminals were opened, expanding capacity by more than 6 times. These projects were financed largely through private investment. Additionally, 8 airports underwent modernization, including major airfield repairs at 3 of them. And here you can see our future plans, targets. Global demand for transport continues to rise, and Kazakhstan's favorable geographic position provides strong opportunities to grow both passengers and transit traffic. By 2030, we aim to substantially increase passenger traffic indicators, including transit passengers, expand the commercial fleet, strengthen our international route network, and establish a dedicated cargo airline to support freight operations and maintain logistic potential. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Saltanat, for your very extensive, informative presentation. So it's really nice and, let's say, numbers in terms of, we see that Kazakhstan is really reinforcing its role as an international transit hub. And moreover, we are in line in terms of, we have aligned our plans in terms of increasing the capacity to accommodate all of those transit flights as well. And we've seen like more than 58, I guess, new international routes also open. That's really impressive numbers. So thank you very much for your presentation. And now I would like to give the floor to Zhanat. So Zhanat, thanks for sharing our panel session today as well. So I want also to extend my heartfelt congratulations to you. As you know that Aviation Administration of Kazakhstan is a new model of civil regulation in Kazakhstan. And this year you have successfully completing the 6th year. So my congratulations on that. So in this relatively short period of time, the administration has made remarkable progress in strengthening the oversight, raising the safety standards, and aligning national practices with global international benchmarks. So we all agree that one of the most significant achievements has been, as mentioned by Saltanat Erkinovna, is the successful exit of Kazakhstan from the European Commission's blacklist. So this milestone, I think, restores the full confidence on international area in our aviation system and enhances the opportunities for greater international connectivity for us. So, Zhanat, I kindly ask you to share the administration's achievements over the past years and give us valuable insights into the future plans.
Thank you, Bakhtiyar. Thank you for the kind words. Yes, indeed, Aviation Administration has launched back in 2019, so already 6 years passed. So we are on the way progress for transition to the new model still. So it's not a one-day task, so we are on a journey. And without the help from the government, it wouldn't be possible to achieve all this achievements and the results. And of course, the support from the industry as well. Can I have my slides on the screen? Yep. So today I would like to share with you safety performance activities done by Aviation Administration of Kazakhstan, and a bit will also touch about the security stuff as well. So first of all, the first slide shows the industry size. I believe it's already almost covered by the chair in her presentation as well. So today we have 47 airlines overall. I believe that for the AFC and for the international participants, it's more interesting to understand how many AOC holders we have. So we have 18 of them. 7 of them have EASA TCO authorization, which allows them to fly the flights to the EU. Overall, in our aircraft registry, we have more than 900 aircraft, with less than half of them with valid COA certificates. We have 24 certified airports. I've seen on the chair's presentation that there are only 20, so the 20 which are more interested to the ministry because it's an infrastructure program run by the ministry. For us, it's interesting the airports which are certified by Aviation Administration of Kazakhstan. And we have also 2 helidecks. We have 3 air navigation service providers. We have also 21 ATO organizations in the country. Of course, the main one is the Academy, as it was already mentioned as well. We have also 2 aviation medical centers operated running in the country, and also 28 MRO organizations. 4 of them are also EASA certified. The next slide shows the safety oversight and surveillance results for the rest 1.5 years. So back in 2024, we have conducted around 1,000 inspection and certification activities. So we issued more than 1,000 permission documents, licenses, certificates, and so on. So based on our oversight activities, we are also doing the enforcement actions as well. Unfortunately, not all of the stakeholders comply with applied regulation, so we have suspended more than around 10 air operators. So it's not mean that only the AOC, but also aerial works and general aviation operators as well. We have suspended or withdrawn 2 COA certificates. We also suspended, but in our case it wasn't issued, the ATO certificate to 1 organization which were not in compliance with the standards. We have also applied suspension of runway operation and restriction of runway operation at night, or suspension of aircraft refueling at 4 airports. And there was also the case when we not issued the air medical expert certificate to the applicant who were not in compliance. During this year, we have also provided during the first half of this year, around 500 inspections and certification activities. Already issued around 1,000 permission documents, certificates, and licenses, and also taken some enforcement action, as you can see on the slide. The next slide will show the safety review on the commercial operators' accident and fatalities during the last almost 15 years. As you can see, during the last 5 years, we have only 1 fatal accident with the foreign air operator, Azal operator, back at the end of the last year. Aviation Administration of Kazakhstan also looks on the performance and oversees the performance of SAFA inspection in the foreign airports by Kazakh air carriers. As you can see on the slide, that the SAFA ratio in Kazakhstan is even less than the SAFA ratio in the overall SAFA score. For the European countries, it means EU member states. So for us, we are really proud of the results for the last year and for the current as well. But this work with EASA and SAFA itself is really important for us, not only for aviation administration, but also for the air carriers, because I just wanted to remind some of you that European Commission look really closely on the SAFA performance, because it's one of the the reason why European Commission can put any kind of restrictions to the air carriers based on the poor SAFA performance. And also we are really cooperate with our air carriers in order to facilitate their EASA TCO authorization as well. So we have during the last couple of years a lot of cases when we supported and provided in-hand support on site to pass successfully the TCO authorization as well. The next slide shows you that AAK is also work with the foreign CAAs. Currently we have 3 active 83 bis agreements with Bermuda Civil Aviation Authority, where there is only 1 Kazakh operator registered the aircraft. We also have active Aruba 83 bis agreement, which used to be previously used by Air Astana Group aircraft as well. And we also have Irish Aviation Authority agreement, which took in place from 2021, where Air Astana Group aircraft are registered as well. So the next slide shows you the compliance with ICAO standards and recommended practices. As I told you that I will touch a bit of the security as well. So Kazakhstan is almost equal with safety and security standards applicable in Kazakhstan. So we are 82 on safety and 83 on security as well. So during these days, actually, as many of you know already, that we are passing and hosting the ICAO audit on security, and finger crossed for the good results as well. We also passed successfully international audits back in last year. So as it was mentioned that we have removed from the close monitoring from the European Commission. So we removed all the restrictions back in 2016. But because of the Bakhtiyar accident, as many of you know, that European Commission decided to again to include Kazakhstan in the close monitoring. So we have convinced the European Commission that we are in compliance with the international standards, and based on the last Air Safety Committee meeting in November last year, so it was decided that Kazakhstan is fully in compliance We also successfully passed the preliminary technical assessment done by FAA. So it was IASA audit, IASA technical visit, and currently working in order to address some of the recommendations that we're raising based on the results. The next slide shows you that we are also working, and we have an active three-party agreement with European Union Aviation Safety Agency and Irish Aviation Authority. During the last couple of years, we have closely working on trying to harmonize our legislation and best operational practice with European Union. So we have conducted a lot of seminars. Based on that, we are trying to implement as much as we can the European standards in our legislation as well. So for the rest of this year, we have also in plan several activities, and we also seconded one UAV inspector to IASA in order to understand the best practice of the regulation of unmanned aviation system, aircraft system in the EU, and hope that based on the visit, the guy will be capable and qualified enough to include and to implement the best practice applied in the EU. We also planning to have in October this year EU visitor program. So it's also to try to establish leadership in AAK, but not only in AAK, but also in the CAA overall. And there is also the discussion is going on about the opening of regional IASA project office on the basis on the AAK. That will be a regional office not only for Kazakhstan, but for the whole Central Asia. And the last but not least, I would like to share with you some of the strategic vision of the AAK for the next period. So the vision is we have kind of three main goals. It's a national strengths, original model, and global excellence. For the national strengths, we believe that we have to cover that by the oversight activities the whole industry, which means that we have to provide effective certification and control and oversight activities, increase the operational efficiency by applying the best methods and the best practices. Of course, develop the human capital, the capabilities, and the training provided to AAK aviation inspectors. Try to digitalize our functions as well as improving the quality of services provided, because as far as industry stakeholders know that we have switched to the new financial model when we take money for the services provided, and also implement national aviation plans on security, on safety, and other aviation plans as well. As a regional model, we would like to be as a #1 in Central Asia in terms of the compliance with ICAO standards and in the CIS countries as well. In terms of the global excellence, we believe that it's also achievable to be in top 10 in the world of the CAAs with the full alignment of international standards. I hope I was on time. Thank you for your attention. That's it of my presentation.
Thank you, Zhanat, for a very insightful, informative presentation as well. So we wish you good luck and all success in achieving your very optimistic, but I believe achievable goals that you set up for yourself. So following which, I would like to draw your attention to Mr. Ibrahim as a representative of Astana Group. So we are grateful to Air Astana as well for their role as a vital partner in the development of Kazakhstan's air travel network. So their strategic growth demonstrated through both the full-service Air Astana and the low-cost Flyer Stamp brands has been instrumental in connecting our nation and boosting economic development. So moreover, Air Astana is not only the national carrier in Kazakhstan, but also a prominent partner listed on Astana International Exchange. So we have a good, let's say, record of relationships. So Mr. Ibrahim, the floor is yours, please.
Bakhtiyar, thank you very much. I'd like to start to thank both the Civil Aviation Committee and AAK for providing a strong foundation for safe and reliable operations, which is particularly safety is our top priority. Today in my presentation, I'll be brief. I'll try to give a quick overview of the Air Astana Group. where we see the growth opportunities, and how we are investing into our business in order to ensure that we have all the requirements delivered from a technical perspective to align with our growth strategy. The quick overview of the group. We operate with 2 AOCs under the group. The Air Astana was the first full-service airline, started flying in May of 2002, 23 years ago. Carried about 5 million passengers in the last 12 months. And I'll come in a minute to the awards for both of the airlines. Flyer Astana, on the other hand, is the younger subsidiary, started flying in 2019, has disrupted the market since then. It was the first genuine LCC in the region, and is by far now leading the segment. And with the 2 distinct products, we are able to both stimulate the market as well as develop the network profitably for the group. Over the last 12 months, we carried about 9.5 million passengers with a 83% load factor, which is ahead of the IATA average for the previous year. In terms of revenues, we have exceeded the $1 billion mark back in 2022. We generated $1.4 billion of revenue in the last 12 months to June 2025. With an EBITDA of 353 million, and again an industry reputable EBITDA margin of 26%. Moving to the right-hand side of the slide, I briefly want to touch upon the 3 principles that were established when the company started off 23 years ago, which were to operate to the highest corporate governance, to operate to the highest operational safety and service standards, and to be commercially and financially independent. And with many things changing along the way, these 3 principles are still the guiding principles for the Air Astana Group, which have in turn delivered the voluntary compliance to EASA and IOSA and the certifications, of which we recently completed with IOSA the 10th audit and have been recertified. And in terms of the service quality, Air Astana has been Air Astana has been the best airline of Central Asia and CIS for now 13 years running, and Fly Astana, despite the fact that it started only a short time ago, has been the best low-cost airline of the region for the last 3 years running. Again, to highlight the focus of the companies, of the entire group, on the 3 founding principles that were established 23 years ago. In terms of fleet, we have been going through a fleet simplification program that started back in 2017, has been completed now, so we are now down to a simplified fleet of 2 aircraft types, the A320 family on the narrow body and the Boeing 767s for the wide body, which are due for replacement by the 787s going forward. That is down from 5 aircraft types that we used to run 6 years ago, and reducing the aircraft age initially to 5 and at the moment to 6, which is again one of the youngest fleets globally that we are operating. In terms of aircraft fleet, pre-pandemic we used to have 35 aircraft in the fleet of the group. At the time that we went for the IPO in early 2024, that number was at 49. Today we stand at 62, and we aim for 84 aircraft in 2029. So roughly speaking, we have almost doubled the fleet in the last 6 years, and we are looking of adding another 22 aircraft from today, or 21 aircraft from the year end by 2029. A large part of this order book has already been committed to, with all aircraft covered till the end of 2027. When we talk about very high growth, a logical question to ask is, have you come to a point of maturity, and is this the end? Are we now going to plateau? I would like to start with the traffic graph on the right-hand side of the slide, which is the number of passengers, domestic, international, as well as combined for Kazakhstan. Back in 2018, the total number of passengers carried by all carriers in and out of Kazakhstan was 7.5 million passengers. That has grown to 14.4 million passengers in 2024, which is a 92% increase of passenger numbers during that period, and particularly higher on the domestic run, where the traffic has grown by 144%. Astana has been a major player in disrupting the market, in stimulating demand, and the entire industry, including ourselves within the group, have benefited from this growth. Now, the line that you see there on the top of the same graph is the propensity for travel. So in simple terms, that is the number of domestic trips divided by the population of the country. And that has more than doubled from 0.23 to 0.57 over the 7 years since the establishment of Astana was decided. However, that is not the end. And that's why I want to draw your attention to the right-hand side of the same slide. Here you will see the combined propensity for travel, same logic, number of trips divided by population. And the comparison of that number with other economies with a similar purchasing power or GDP per capita, and how they have evolved in terms of travel propensity after completing the stimulation cycle of the LCCs. So the examples here are Malaysia, Turkey, and Mexico, and any of them have about a 2 times higher propensity for travel than what we have achieved by doubling it in Kazakhstan over the last couple of years. What this tells is that before we get to that plateau and we start growing by GDP multiplied by a certain multiplier, we have yet another doubling to materialize before we get to that level. On the next slide, we have the second pillar of growth, which is the region that we are in. I mean, Central Asia and Caucasus is the highest growing market in the world as per the IATA statistics. We are right at the heart of it, and there we say, coming from Kazakhstan, we do feel that we are leading the Central Asian and Caucasus region, and in many ways we do benchmark Singapore Airlines, which is an airline that has come from a relatively small country of only 5 million people, but has benefited from major countries with high populations around them. The same case counts for us. So Kazakhstan itself is 20 million people, but when we look at our extended home market, that target population goes to 95 million people. And as you can see from the number of frequencies that we operate, like to Georgia, 42 flights a week or 6 per day, to Uzbekistan, 15 flights a week. These are areas where we can have significantly high growth, and we are able to serve both the point-to-point as well as the connecting transit traffic. Another point I'd like to make is, in the previous slide we talked about the propensity for travel, where Kazakhstan is actually the highest in terms of propensity for travel, with the 0.6 on domestic or 0.8 in international, which again illustrates the opportunity for growth by stimulating demand in our neighboring countries. The third pillar for growth is, as has been touched upon several times today, is our geographical location. We are at the heart of Eurasia. And within 7 hours flight distance, we are able to get onto any point, almost any point in Asia or in Europe, as well as in the Middle East. At the same time, we are neighboring 2 of the biggest populations of the world. we have a direct border with China, and with one country in between, we have India within the vicinity of only 2.5 to 3 hours. These are two of the highest growing economies in the world, with almost 1.5 billion people each at our doorstep. So these mega markets, to start with, to our southeast and to the south, are significant growth potentials for the Air Astana Group. Moving on to the Gulf and Saudi Arabia, where we see again very high growth of passenger numbers. Not only by ourselves, there are multiple competitors that have come into the market, and the market just continues to grow. And it grows from both ends, not just from Kazakhstan, but also from the Gulf coming into the region. So, and in addition to that, Turkey, with the historical ties, and Europe, again, are mega markets, which are great potentials for growth for the Air Astana Group. When you combine these, the very low potential for travel, the mega markets in our vicinity, and the extended home market opportunity where we have been, and we remain the leader, those three will be forming the source for the continuation of the high growth that we've had over the last couple of years. In the next slide, I want to talk a little bit about the agility and the resilience of the group. The numbers already speak for themselves, but this is a bridge of traffic, how the traffic has evolved for the group following COVID and following the suspension of flights to Ukraine and to Russia. At that time, we have lost close to 20% of our traffic, almost overnight. However, we have been able to not only bring that back, but also grow on top of it by expanding into markets in India, in Central Asia, Caucasus, in China and the Far East, as well as Gulf and Saudi Arabia, and particularly strengthening our presence on the market to Turkey as well. The direct growth is about 19%, or if we exclude Russia and Ukraine from the base, it is a 29% growth during a period when we've gone through COVID-19, we had the war in the region, and still managed to, in a very agile and resilient manner, to grow traffic for the group by just going into alternative markets. We talked about the domestic traffic that for the group, combined for Air Astana and Fly Air Astana, has grown by 150%, again to the base year of 2019. On the next slide, I briefly want to talk about competitiveness. Zhanat just talked about the competitiveness from an operational perspective, but I think it's also important to put into perspective where the two companies within the group are positioned in their relative peer group. So if we look at Fly Air Astana, despite the fact that it is relatively young and it's still in that very strong growth pattern, and therefore has a huge potential for gaining economies of scale, it's already almost on par with Ryanair. It's below that of other peers in the group like Wizz and Indigo on a very, very competitive cost base. If we look at Air Astana within the full-service airline group, the closest peer in our group is Singapore Airlines, but if we look at the closest operating airline into the region, we are more than 20% below our closest peer, which is Turkish Airlines. The reason why this is important is it's a very important indicator of your efficiency, and in turn for that, your ability to be able to compete besides the strong product that we offer to our customers, to be able to compete in price as well. And as a result of that, both for Fly Air Astana and Air Astana in 2024, we had a strong EBITDA margin, which are the second and the third best in the peer group that we are following. Often people would say that an airline is about bringing in aircraft. We just had a closed session where we talked about different options of ownership for aircraft. But on this slide, I want to talk about the additional technical infrastructure that is required that we initially were actually obliged to invest into, but now have turned into very strong efficiency centers and carry the potential to become a profit center in the future. The hangar that we constructed back in 2015 started doing our Airbus maintenance C-checks back in 2023, started off with the relatively lower level of 1C. That was then extended in 24-25, and as of this year we are able to perform all of the Airbus maintenance in-house in our hangar in Astana. That is certainly a cost saving, and it also is a base of expanding the expertise within the country by growing the capabilities of our technicians and engineers that are providing this maintenance. We've already committed through the IPO proceeds for the extension of a second hangar in Astana. In Almaty we have a leased hangar, and we will be adding an additional hangar to that in Almaty as well. In terms of training, during COVID-19 we did struggle in providing the training that was required for the currency of our pilots through the mandatory training. At that time we started looking at the business case, and we constructed the training center in Astana. We placed first the first simulator that has been operating there. It again is a major cost saving, and again a very important capability that has been brought to Kazakhstan by introducing the simulator in Astana. We've already ordered the second. We are waiting for the conclusion of the construction, and we aim to commission the expansion of the building by the end of this year. And for a cabin crew, we have also invested into their recurrent training to be done in Kazakhstan instead of sending them abroad to other training organizations. Whereby we are now becoming a significant training provider, firstly to ourselves and potentially in future to third-party customers as well. We established Air Astana Terminal Services that we announced by the end of May. There are numerous initiatives that we are introducing to improve operational efficiencies through fuel consumption, and also by improving the efficiency of the pilots, where we provisionally have achieved already an 8% saving or a gain of efficiency in the crews that are required to operate the fleet. The reasons why I wanted to mention this is particularly that if we are talking about growth, which has been extremely high over the last couple of years, and we have high ambitions to continue to grow both in the region as well as internationally to the mega markets around us. We also need to think of the technical capabilities, the number of pilots that we need, the cabin crew that we need to train, and also the engineers that we need to maintain our aircraft, as well as the facilities to support that growth. And with all of this in place, we are extremely confident to deliver the growth and to support that with all the investments that we've been making over the last 23 years to continue tapping on the high growth potential in our region as well as across of Eurasia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim, for your valuable insights on behalf of Air Astana. So we couldn't ask for more comprehensive report from your side. So once again, my sincerest thanks to all the speakers for their insightful and very comprehensive presentations. Just to conclude, the presentations clearly illustrated the thriving aviation industry sector, which is marked by a significant growth across all key metrics that have been presented to you today. For instance, the passenger turnover is on steady upward trajectory driven by increasing demand. At the core of this development is a steadfast commitment to flight safety. Upholding this high safety standards remains one of key vectors presented by Zhanat. And another proof for that is 22%, which is way above the world benchmark on ICAO compliance. Also another proof of that. And furthermore, the national airlines have presented their ambitious plans for the growth, and they have visionary strategies in place to capitalize on this positive momentum. So I know we are short of time, but from the perspective of AFC Authority, I would like to delve into our ecosystem and explain to you just in a couple of minutes, and still you're a little bit, just 5 minutes time, just to provide our proposed, let's say, vision and proposal on creating an AFC aviation hub using the benefits and advantages of our center if possible. So do you have a clicker or? So I will not overwhelm you with all of these numbers, just a couple takeaways from this. So as of today, we have 4,300 plus AFC participant companies registered already. And this number actually grows exponentially year to year, which means that AFC is becoming a very popular platform to properly structure and effectively structure your assets and investments. And as you can see, 37% is actually financial companies and financial service providers, while another 63% is other companies which are non-authorized and dealing in different types of business activities like IT, communication, professional services, and any other else, which means that apart from regulated financial activities, we are a very popular platform for any other initiatives here. So as you can see, the recent huge transaction deals like the acquisition of Kazakhstan by Vietjet has been also structured using the platform of AIFC, like Central Asia Airport Holdings Limited, or we have Astana International Airport Management Administration also structured through terminals for Astana using the platform and advantages of AIFC. So as of today, initially when we were incepted and commenced our operations in 2018, we had these product-based pillars like asset management and capital management, Islamic finance, GFC, and all of those. As of today, we know that most of our regulatory and legal framework is in place, and we are more focused on further developing and enhancing those legal regulatory regimes. But now we are also more focused on trying to be an enabler for very complex projects where there are a lot of stakeholders who need to join their efforts together. Just as examples, we have this carbon trade, we have the creative industry, where we have the special AFC Venture Studio framework, we have the junior mining incubator, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a huge number of these projects where we need to cooperate closely with business, with investors, with government, with regulators. So therefore, we also see a huge potential in aviation industry as well, so that AFC can become a very effective tool. End of the day, we are just a platform. We are the tool. We are not, the leaders in this industry. So we see why aviation for AFC. So we see a huge potential in facilitating the next phase of aviation growth. So as you can see, AFC can establish an aviation finance platform. We also see huge potential in reinforcing our regional, let's say, leadership position. So as of today, yes, AFC is #1, let's say, financial center in the Central Asia and Eastern Europe, while we are 64th in the world, and etc. But again, we can also become the leading regional hub for aviation finance in the same way as we are in green finance, or in the same way as we are in Islamic finance, and etc., etc. And also we think that AFC has a huge potential to contribute alongside with all the stakeholders to enable the driving economic development by helping the country to become and get the status of a key transit and trade hub as well. So what we see as a concept actually, so the main core idea is that Kazakhstan can lead in aviation finance and leasing in Central Asian region by structuring investments, localizing foreign lessors, and building qualified talent pool. So actually there are 4 main pillars that we proposing, at least to discuss. One of them is aircraft financing and leasing. So AFC can become a Central Asian hub for aircraft financing and leasing operations. Secondly is a sustainable aviation, which means that we also can become a driving force in transition to green aviation. The third is Aviation Advisory Center. So it's attraction of international, let's say, local experts to create the excellent center for competence in the field of financial and technical consulting. And the third is Aviation Training Center. So most aviation training centers, yeah, we know it's mostly about the pilot training, it's about engineers, but there is a niche for trainings in finance and legal in aviation. So we can bridge this gap in the industry and help to train and bring up a new, let's say, profession in the region. So this is the main roadmap that has been, it's just a high-level roadmap. So we see that there is a recipe ingredients that has to be put in place, at least at the beginning, initial stage, to be discussed. So it's about the tax regime, it's about the customs regime, it's about legislative amendments to be done in different types of conventions and laws, and we have different type of collaborations which need to be established between the state authorities and stakeholders using different types of, let's say, instruments and joint acts, which is also important, creation a special regulatory regime and license by the AFSA. In sustainable aviation also, we have a separate set of, let's say, proposed actions to be done. Again, everything is in collaboration with the Civil Aviation Committee and Aviation Administration all together, but again, we can create a state working group and can be included and initiate some discussions, at least there, to register an ICAO-CORSA compliant carbon markets on our Astana International Exchange, or participate in SAF project on sustainable fuel. Similarly, there is a list of proposed, let's say, actions on Aviation Training Center and Advisory Center. So this is just to give you an idea that we can create some joint roadmap and take every advantage of our center, since we have the AFC Academy for Training, we have Green Finance Center, we have like our flexible regulatory and legislative regimes, we have our dispute resolution bodies like AFC Court and International Arbitration Center. So we have to use that advantage. We have to put all of that together in order to build a proper roadmap and make some value and change in the region. So this is, again, just comparative analysis of some main jurisdictions. So we know that Ireland is one of the leading ones. And this is just to show and give you an idea that we understand that there is no some standard recipe. So each jurisdiction has its own peculiarities, its own advantages. When one is very good in terms of deep talent pool, the another has very ultra-low effective tax rate, or some others provide, let's say, gateways to Asian market or Chinese market, and etc. So we need to find our own advantages and our own values actually to create around this region. Yeah, so these are the key milestones. So far we just presented the concept of aircraft financing and leasing to the government. We collaborated with Partners for Aviation Finance Trainings, some discussions being in place there. We have discussed with KMG IRA some options to support the SAF project. But there are also some short-term goals and strategic goals. But in the end of the day, we aim at creating a favorable regime supported by all the infrastructure and providing the AFC regulation and licensing dedicated to aircraft lessors and owners in finance industry joined with aviation. So this type of just milestones, excuse me again just for stealing your time, since we are way beyond the time, so it's okay. But generally, this is some kind of a call to action and some ideas to take it further for further discussions and put it on paper and maybe give some initiations for